Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a intro to probability. So let's dig right into drinking this green tea, or ocha in Japanese. So I'm a little bit thirsty. Yoshii, delicious. So, oh yeah, right, we're talking about probability. So, probability in Japanese is this right here, 可能性. So, small little trivia that is really not important at all in mathematics, but I thought you might want to see what it looks like. Anyway, probability. What does probability sound like to you? Hopefully, you hear the word probably, right? Probably. Now, how do we use the word probably? Right? You might say something like, it will probably happen, or it probably won't happen. Right? What do these phrases mean in general? Well, probability in general is talking about the chance of something happening, right? For instance, if I roll a six-sided dice, right? I roll it, what is the chance of it happening? Well, instead of saying chance, we might say, what is the probability of rolling a 1 when I roll a dice? Right? So that's just the general idea about probability. Probability equals chance. That's pretty much it. Now, chance. Where do we hear chance or probability? Well, one example that I brought up in class was the chances of rain. Right? When you look at the Weather Channel or you look at your whatever app that you might have on your phone, right? You look it up and it'll say, oh, the chances of rain is blank. Now, that blank, how do they usually say it? They usually use percent. So that's where we're going to start when we talk about probability. So let's go to the next page. And let's actually explore using a number line. So, question. When it is 100% chance rain, what does that mean? It means, right, 100% chance that it will definitely happen. Right, that's pretty obvious. 100% chance that I will punch Mr. Ovae. That means I'm definitely going to punch him. Of course, I won't do that because he'll beat me up and I'll cry. So, anyway, 100% means it will definitely happen. Okay, well, if it 100% definitely happens, oh, actually, I have a question. Right, if 100% is definite, can I say 110% chance? Right, 110% chance it will rain? No, that is impossible. I can't say that it's definitely going to happen and happen 10% more. Right, that doesn't make any sense. Right, it's going to definitely happen, and that's it. That is the maximum. If I'm talking about percent increase or decrease, yeah, you could have more than 100%. But when I'm talking about probability, it's only the maximum is 100%. So how about if there's, right, it definitely happens, the other end of the spectrum, you might say, well, it's impossible, right? Doing something will be impossible or it will not happen. Well, that will be represented as 0%, and I think that's pretty obvious. The question is, can I have, say, negative 20%? Can I say that? Negative 20%? No, you can't say that, right? It's only, right, doing something could be impossible or 100% possible. So, if it's impossible, it can't be like, oh, I can't do it, and I can't do it even more. That doesn't make sense. So, percents, just keep in mind that all the probability or chance is from 0% all the way to 100% and everything in between. So, right, we might say something like, okay, the probability of it raining is 75%. Is that definitely going to happen if it's 75% rain? Not definite, but if it's 75% or 75% chance rain, would you bring an umbrella? I would, right? 75% is a pretty high chance. I would write likely to happen. But this likely is a little bit, right, kind of like arbitrary, or it's kind of your opinion, because what if I said, oh, 70% chance? Is that likely to happen? Well, I would still bring an umbrella, but how about if it said 60%, 50%? When do we say that it's not that likely? That's a little bit iffy. But in general, I would say, right, something from, say, 60, even 60 is a little bit low, but maybe 75 and higher, that's definitely likely. That is a very good chance it will happen, right? I would bring an umbrella. But then, how about if I said 25% chance? Would you say that, would you bring an umbrella? Maybe, but maybe you're not that worried about it, right? So, when I see that, I would write something like, somewhat likely. A little likely, maybe. Right? It's a little likely. But, again, this little, what's little, right? For some people, something that looks little might be large. So, right, what if I said 20%, is that little? If I say 10%, is it little? Or would you say, oh, no, that's really not going to happen? So that, again, that's a little bit arbitrary, right? It's your choice. But in general, right, anything lower than maybe 30%, right, anything in this range, it's a little likely, but really not that likely. But then, 50% is actually one of the more interesting percents. Why? Because in probability, 50% a lot of times is kind of like doing kind of the fair thing, right? For instance, flipping a coin. Right, that's just an example, so I'm going to put parentheses. Right? If I flip a coin, what's the probability or the chance of me getting a heads? Well, the chance is 50% because there's only 2 outcomes. Okay, so there's a little bit more interesting fact about 50%, and I'm actually going to draw a mountain as so. And just say I have something called the probability ball right here. Alright, so I have this probability ball. Well, if the ball is exactly at 50%, is the ball going to roll left or right? No, it's not. Right? It could go either to, right, not likely or little likely, or it could go towards the more likely side. But the moment, right, so if it's at 50%, that means it's like flipping a coin. It's a really nice coin. It could go either way. But what if I said, okay, instead, the chance of, right, like something happening is 52%. So 52% isn't that far away from 50%, but now that it is slightly more to the right side, now you could say that, oh, it is a little bit more likely for something to happen. For instance, if there is a coin, and just say the coin is a little bit bent, and if I flip the coin, maybe it's a little bit more likely for it to be heads. Maybe it's 50% chance. That means it's more likely for me to see a heads than tails, even though there's just this little bit percent. So if I put the ball here, right, which way would it roll? It would roll towards the more likely side. The flip side would be, right, if I said the chances is, say, 48% chance, right, then if I put the ball here, which way is it going to go? It's going to go towards the little likely or not that likely. So that's kind of the idea of percents, right? The more we go this way, it's going to be likely, right? And anything, right, less than 50%, we're going to say is less likely. So that's the general idea about percents. We're going to explore a little bit more about how to write percents or probability. Okay.